I want to talk to you about an idea that I came up with when I was going through DNRS to help heal from chronic illness, in my case, mold sensitivity, just to help conceptualize what I was doing with this limbic retraining of my limbic system. And I do think that it's important to develop an idea of what you're doing to convince yourself, deeply convince yourself, not here, but throughout, that this is what's really going on. It's a limbic dysfunction. And the idea is what I call the limbic triad. And it's really just thinking about different parts of your neurology that are connected. The three parts of the triad being first, your symptoms. That's what's dysfunctional. That's what you're trying to fix or at least calm down these symptomatic reactions. The second is emotion, and third is thought. As I was going through DNRS and was starting to find myself improve, it seemed to me that my limbic reaction was kind of slowing down in a way that I could see more clearly what was happening, and I could see limbic triggers that weren't environmental, weren't exposure to mold or dust or something like this, but would often be thoughts that would pop into my head, and more likely emotions like connected to thoughts that would pop into my head, and then the symptoms would come in their wake. So all these three things, the thought, the emotion, and then the symptom coming, these are all very much connected. And in your brain, what's been happening is there has been a neural pathway or a series, a group of cluster of neural pathways that have been laid down. And that's like, ruts from erosion or whatever. That's where the water wants to flow. Once those ruts are there and the water appears, it just wants to go into those ruts. And so that's what's happening in your brain. You've got these ruts that you're trying to break out of or establish new healthy ruts, new pathways. Now, again, there's this triad going on. So what do we have control over? Well, the part that we have least direct control over is the symptoms itself, the symptoms themselves. Some control over emotions, perhaps, but the clearest point of access to this triad is in our thinking, what we are thinking to ourselves, what we're telling ourselves. So that ends up being a crucial piece of the puzzle. That is a crucial part of DNRS training, is thinking, talking to yourself. I discovered, by the way, as I was researching neurology as part of my process in DNRS, just curious, trying to learn more about it, there are different parts of the brain that fire when we are just thinking silently to ourselves. When we're hearing spoken words, another part of the brain is active. When we're speaking, another part of the brain is active. So when we're speaking to ourselves, we're really maximizing that verbal, conscious, rational part of ourselves, of our brains, of our neurology. All right. Now, so that again, that is really critical. I don't think that DNRS is just a matter of having an insight. Oh, it's my limbic system, and now so I should feel better. No, you really are. You're using that part of your neurology, directing downstream toward the parts of neurology that is the dysfunctional pathway that's leading to the symptoms. Now, this other component, very, very important, is emotional. Harder to get a handle on, harder to simply, tell yourself not to feel a certain emotion, right? Emotions, as we know, don't work that way. They can be responsive to our reason somewhat, sometimes more than others, sometimes not as much as we want, right? But that's also part of this story. And so in DNRS, one of the things that you do is you are supposed to think about positive things, emotionally positive things. some future in which, what are the things that you want to do when you're feeling well? What are some times in your past when you have felt really just content and happy and so forth? Bring those to mind in connection to thinking about what you're doing with your chronic illness, in connection to the healing, right? You want to establish the positive emotional connection to the thought, addressing it to your limbic system to try to establish, maximize that, the power of those neural connections in this limbic triad to bring along the most stubborn point of the triad, that is those symptoms along with you. So you're just trying to, you may, you know, you may find that your limbic system, it feels like it's fighting back. It's resisting, like it's saying, oh no, this isn't really what's going on. Here, I'll prove it to you. I'm going to have a flare up, right? So it might feel like you're kind of struggling with your limbic system. And I think the way to think about it is you're just trying to convince yourself, head to toe, heart and soul, that this is what's going on. And so latch on to the points of improvement. Remind yourself, go back through those points of improvement. If you are 10% better, point that out to your limbic system. 10% better, 30% better, 50% better. You may be frustrated that you're only 50% better, but tell your limbic system, we're 50% better, right? That frustration, emotional reaction, that's also limbic, by the way. That's your limbic system saying in a way that it wants to get better. So anyway, yeah, limbic triad, again, I think just conceptualizing this in different ways is helpful. Establish those neural connections, convince yourself that that's what's going on. Wanted to share that. Hope that helps. Take care. Bye.